Next, and the police officer. Lord help, I've been preaching that for how long? Several months.
Longer than Councilwoman Singletary's been alive.
Probably so. But you know what, you gotta kind of, walk before you run. And I'm glad we're able to do that, and, maybe if we keep talking about it, we'll get another one added here and there. Couple of things for the police chief. Shootings is still going on, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, quite a few.
I know. Are we catching anybody?
No, we haven't locked up anybody as of yet. The last two shootings, one was in the county, it was last at trailer parks in the county. And we just had one last night. But the sheriff's office and our department is working together on all of them. Along with the shootings a few weeks ago, SLED's helping us on those also. So we're getting close, it's being investigated.
One other thing, and I think the correct word is called panhandling.
Yes, sir.
It's everywhere.
Yes, so we have it at CVS, Walmart, IGA, and it's the same. Officer Friendly is shaking his head because he's dealt with it a good bit. And here's the thing, and I don't want to take up too much time. The panhandle, we lock them up. They get right back out. They don't pay their fines, so they go right back to jail. So these folks are a continuous problem, not only for the citizens, but for the city as well. Because it costs us every time we lock them up. And when they get in here, they ain't got the means to pay the fine. So it's just a continuous cycle.
But the thing about it, what worries me is the approaching people and parking up. Someday I'm afraid somebody's gonna get hurt, you know. But we need to look at it. And I know y'all doing your best with it, but it's just something that people's been talking to me about.
Yeah, we're having a good many of those, especially CVS and IGA.
Dollar General.
Dollar General. The Dollar General, the CVS is the same, one or two people. Walmart's a little different. We got some people that come from out of town and sit out there and try to collect money. And
I've heard people saying they've been going inside stores too. I'm not saying which store, because I don't know, but they've been going inside stores doing it.
And
yeah, we can name every one of them for you.
I don't want to jump in over the chief, but the city does not have the resources to just put officers to sit in the parking lots. So some of the onus is gonna have to be on the businesses to actually make sure that people feel safe, because if people don't feel safe going, their businesses are not gonna be worthwhile. So a lot of entities will hire security, and that sort of thing. But I know that our folks are doing, really the best that they can. And then addressing the shooting, right? What's happening in Lake City is happening 10 times worse in many other nearby counties and that sort of thing. And trends just kind of happen. And while we can always use more police officers, this is not something that we're gonna resource our way out. We've got the community, and the chief says this all the time, the community has got to take responsibilities for its young people, because if you look at the SLED data, the uptick is it in the 15-year-olds?
Yeah, juvenile.
It's 15, 16, 17-year-olds and some early 20s, but we've got to actually figure out how to get a handle on our young people and bring some respect back. And, and this is, it's a trend, and I do think that our police department's doing a good job. I mean, we've not, had some of the issues that others have, and I know that chief is out there when there's a shooting. He's, I'm fussing at him to go home and get some rest, but he's out there with his men and women, and and I don't want to steal his thunder, but he showed the mayor and I a video last week where one of his police officers, female police officers, actually, you want to come up, actually stopped a gentleman who in North Carolina 5 hours earlier basically shot a man in the chest and left him for dead. And to watch the video of our Lake City police officer interact with this person, following everything by the book, but knowing that this could have been really a cold-blooded killer, it was startling, and hopefully you'll be able to see it, Chief, if you want to add to it.
Yeah, there was an incident near Chapel Hill, North Carolina, early morning. Without discussing the details, a gentleman was shot. The gentleman traveled from next Chapel Hill to Lake City. This is where he's from. It was about 4 hours, somewhere in there, give or take, however long it takes to get from Chapel Hill to here. And the officer stopped for speed. Officer was nice, talking to him. The video shows clearly being respectful to him. He was nervous. He got to the point that he started trusting the officer. And she got him out, put him in the car, typed up a little warning. And it got to the point when they got out the car, he asked a question to him. Blowed my mind because I watched the whole thing, because you don't see this very often. But the question was, when he got out the car and she gave him his warning, he said, "Can I hug you?" And she said, "Sure." So he walks up and hugs her. Not knowing 4 hours prior to that, he just shot somebody, or accused of shooting somebody, I should say that. But it's a very good training video. I'm gonna use it. I showed it to the mayor, Miss Stephanie. I'm gonna use it for training. I'm gonna use it for public events. So, I'm gonna black out everything so folks is not recognizable, but it's a great video. And that's what our officers do on a daily basis. And folks don't get to see that side of it. They always see the bad side. We always talk about kids that are having trouble, from 15 to 17. But that's like 5%. Nobody talks about the 95% that the kids are doing good, that's doing good in the Dannon Project, that's doing good in school, getting scholarships, playing sports. We don't talk about that much. We always talk about the 5%.
Cleaning up trash.
Yeah. We talk about the small percentage. And of course, in this day and age, and I hate to throw you under the bus, but the media blows that 5% up. Because that sells newspapers, that gets you to turn to their channel, or go to their, as Chief Drigger says, the Facebook. That's what they get, but I think personally, we need to start showing that 95%.
That's right.
I mean, yeah, you're gonna have the 5% that does bad.
They get all the publicity.
Yeah, but
We need
the
some-
world will be a better place, Lake City will be a better place if we focus on the 95. Now, we got to deal with the 5% that's committing the crime, but let's put these 95% folks on a pedestal. Makes,
True.
and that's what we need to do. But I get on my soapbox.
The
so I don't-
question was asked to me, would a substation help?
Like Miss Stephanie said, you can't throw money at the problem. Police activity in neighborhoods across the city will help, yes. When you see police officers riding in the neighborhood all the time, that helps. Substation, I think there's misconception that there's gonna be a police officer there 24 hours a day, but it's not gonna be. They're gonna stop in and do reports and, maybe eat some lunch or whatever and leave. But yeah, officer presence does make a difference. But that building, there's not gonna be there somebody manning it 24/7. And it has helped downtown because the merchants have felt like there's an officer there all the time if they got an issue. And they respond to, panhandlers downtown. Communities, I think personally, patrol officers need to be in those communities all the time. Again, you can't throw money at everything to fix the problem, but that question is yes and no. You can't, I mean, you can't,
You can't just be sitting in a
Right.
substation. We need to have enough officers that are out and about.
yes.
And one of the things that I had not thought about until I met with the chief and the officers is that there's a lot more on them. They could be running to Columbia to take someone for mental health, and that leaves one officer. I mean, if we've got two that are on a shift. So they're being asked to sit at hospitals, that takes somebody off. And it's not just us, every single law enforcement agency, even the universities, what's being asked of them, especially when they're dealing with someone who may have been tased or whatever, they've got to take that person to the hospital and stay with them till they're actually released and then take them. So there's just a lot that people don't realize that goes into it. If there was someone that was arrested, there's instances where the officers have to go to Charleston or Georgetown, so.
All across the state. And I'll give you a quick example. We can lock somebody up that has some kind of medical history. We take them to the jail, they won't take them. So we have to take them either to Florence or back to Lake City. And we have to sit with them. They have to stay 2 days observation because they're under arrest. We have to sit with them for 2 days until they're medically cleared. Mental health. We've been all the way to Georgia line. We've been to North Carolina line, the beach, Columbia. We've been all the way to almost Clemson and Greenville. So I mean, that takes folks away. But that's what we have to do. It ain't just us, man. It's everybody in the state. Every agency has to do. But if they have a Lake City address, we have to take care of it. Now, the sheriff's office takes care of everybody from the county, but if they have a Lake City address, we have to take care of them, and that takes a lot of folks. I mean, I had to call somebody out at 2 o'clock in the morning the other morning to take somebody to MUSC in Charleston. I mean, it happens. And that gets overlooked. That gets overlooked a lot. But I mean, we'll make do. I mean, we'll try.
I think y'all do.
I think so. We got some good folks. Nobody's perfect, but we got some good folks, and they're trying to make a difference. We do have a lot of events, and it kind of stretches thin sometimes, but we've asked the sheriff's office, just like Rhythm and Cues, I had around 70, 75 police officers during Rhythm and Cues. I had SLED, probation, parole, Florence County, Williamsburg County, all the little municipalities in Florence County. I had all of them in there, and that helps. And then the weather kind of, we had to send most of them home because of the weather. But we're utilizing our resources, our mutual aids that y'all approve. But in turn, we have to go help them. Like we had to go help Old for their festival. Because they came and helped us. And I think there's a presidential thing, and I didn't get with you, I haven't got with you. Presidential thing coming up, a debate or something in Manning Police. Chief Grice and Manning Police Department has asked us to help, with traffic control because CNN and all that's coming in. But just different things like that we're utilizing. But I appreciate the mutual aids, and I know I talk too much. But I appreciate what y'all done, and things that y'all approved tonight will help us tremendously. Like I said, it is a start. We get, y'all approve one officer, hopefully after the second reading, and we'll move forward from there. But thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief, I had a question. The hub, is that safe?
What?
To grant a hub to?
No. But if you watch the video, it went from nervous most of the traffic stopped, and then he kind of calmed down, and she patted him down, make sure he didn't have any weapons or anything. I mean, the video shows it.
She was textbook.
Yeah, she was textbook and everything, and it was good. And she was even joking with him. Why are you nervous? I'm just.
Did y'all arrest him?
No,
It was a speeding.
It was a speeding ticket.
Yeah, there was nothing in the system.
They didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, there was nothing in the
Has he
system.
been held? Where do you know? Yes.
I mean, I think it's an investigation, but
Yeah.
the reason why I brought it up is specifically for our citizens is our officers never know who they're stopping. And people get mad because a lot of times they are, taking control of the situation and command of the situation, but that's what an officer has to do. They don't know you. They don't know if the person was a murderer or what have you. And when you see it, it's, you know, it's very chilling, but she handled everything really, really, really well.
And most people see the bad stuff, like we go back to that 5%. When you see the bad stuff, you don't see the good stuff. And I just found that because the officers from North Carolina came down and I looked at the thing, and that's when I showed them. That's the 95% that, you know, I want to portray. And the kids too, so. But I think we need to focus is on the 95%.
Again, thanks everybody for coming out. Tonight at the Boys and Girls Club at 6 p.m. they held an organizational meeting for mentorship. So if you know anybody out there that's interested in becoming a mentor, please touch bases with the school district or with Jamie Daniels. I thought I saw maybe approximately about 20 plus folk out there for the initial meeting tonight. Thought that was a good turnout. The other is Cynthia. I want to say thank you and kudos to all staff and all of the other folk that participated in the Halloween Carnival exceptionally well this year. I'm gonna find me another duty. I will not be the cupcake king. But I did win. I put out more cupcakes than my volunteer fireman that was next to me. So, but it was fun, and I think everybody had a good time. There's some more organizational things we could do to make it run a little bit more smoothly, but I didn't get any complaints from anybody out there. Justin, again, good to see you. I appreciate your efforts on the Dannon project. The one plus that you have is that growing up in Lake City, you know everybody. So they can't throw a game on you. You know when they're trying to be real and you know when they're trying to do otherwise. As Mr. Cook said, as Richard said, that this is an opportunity. We have opportunities now that we haven't had before. So if they want to turn themselves around, it starts within. So they actually have a chance to do that. But it's good to have the tools here so that they're able to do it. This past weekend was kind of busy. We had there was a criminal domestic violence at Councilmember Brown's church, St. John United Methodist Church on the Green Road. And we had a very good turnout there, a very interesting discussion, tag team between Mr. and Mrs. Anderson. So I won't say who won. It was all, we had a tie. But anyway.
You're on camera.
Yeah, we tied. Because we took two different avenues to get where we were going. So I let her use her style, and I used my style. So that way it wasn't any conflicts. But it was good because I don't think we realize how much criminal domestic violence goes on in our community here. I know I didn't realize that until we allowed the space to be used in our administration building. It's people every single day. And it's not people that you don't know, it's people that you do know that are in bad situations. So let's keep them in prayer and continue to encourage folk to use the resources that we have. On the 21st of this month, Greater St. James will have their Thanksgiving community dinner. So if you know any seniors or anybody that need to be fed that particular day, please get those names to me, and so we can get them to our church. Mr. Phil, you know, when you become an icon, when you have your own moniker, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. I wish they would call me Mr. Officer Friendly. but that's built over years of building trust and hard work, and we certainly appreciate it. And Mrs. Phil, we really thank you for sharing them with us, because as I said earlier, I know the list has gotten longer, but I know you're prepared to write. I got a free pen if you need one. The shootings were mentioned, and everybody to, aside from staying in prayer, be aware of what's going on around us. Chief, you wanna give us that hotline number again, if you don't mind?
You would ask me. It's 374-7266. Let me double check.
Okay. Because what I'm hearing is everybody's afraid, so I'm telling them, look, we have a number you can call that doesn't go back to you. And so that when the officers arrive, it doesn't matter, because nobody knows who called.
And also, you can give them my phone number, they can call me too. And that's 843-598-8712.
Now, I'm gonna tell your wife you gave me your number.
That's fine. It rings a lot anyhow, so.
All right, and,
Say it again, Chief.
Mine is 843-598-8712. And the other one is 374-7266.
okay. And last but certainly not least, had an opportunity to visit Wesley United Methodist Church on their 134th anniversary. And it was an awesome occasion. So wanted to just say congratulations to them. And of course, Justin was there with us because that's his home church. And we certainly appreciate the love that was shown to the entire community. So we will be moving forward. Thanks to our staff. William, we're getting accustomed to see you sitting over in the seat now. So the seat gets a little bit softer the longer you sit in it. Okay?
It does.
So wear and tear gets down. And for our rest of our staff, Ms. Snowden, and we got Ms. Josie here for the first time tonight, keeping you out past your bedtime. But this is a short night now. Some nights are longer.
Oh, yes.
And Ms. Teresa, good to see you as usual. And T.Y., keep the press rolling. But thank you guys, everybody, for coming out. And Granny, good to see you. And we're glad to see Mr. and Mrs. Burrows back there. Thank y'all for coming out and being a part of. Was she still Ms. Burrows? Yeah. Okay. But appreciate everybody. And do we hear a motion to adjourn?